You want to live on a boat in California? You might want to think again. Monthly slip fees are some of the highest in the country. Brennan Island, $350 a month. Brisbane, $400 a month. Sacramento, $500 a month. Yacht Haven Marina, $600. Pier 32, $700. And don't even think about getting anywhere near Long Beach. King Harbor Marina is $1,200 a month. Living on a boat in California sounds like the ultimate dream. Waking up on the water, sunsets over the bay, and maybe even saving a little money compared to renting an apartment. But what does it actually cost? Today we're going to break down the real numbers of living on a boat in California, from the hidden fees to the big expenses, and even which regions are cheaper than others. Spoiler though, the dream is still alive, but it's not as cheap as some people think. Let's start with the biggest ongoing expense, your slip fee. A slip is basically a parking spot for the boat. And in California, slip rates are usually charged by the foot per month. And the range is wide. In the Bay Area, you're looking at roughly $8 to $15 per foot per month, depending on the marina. So if you have, like, let's say a 35-foot sailboat, that's anywhere between $300 and $550 every month just to tie the boat up. But if you head south into San Diego or Los Angeles, things get a little bit spicy. There, slips can run $25 to even $50 per foot. That same 35-foot boat suddenly costs you $900 to $1,700 a month to tie up. But here's the kicker. Not every marina allows you to live on your boat. And if they do, they almost always tack on a Liveaboard fee. Think of it like rent for the right to actually sleep on your boat. At Berkeley Marina in the Bay Area, that's an extra $220 every month for the Liveaboard fee. At Treasure Island Yacht Harbor, the Liveaboard fee is $337. In San Diego at Pier 32, it's $500 a month for a single person and nearly $600 a month for a couple. At Kona Kai Marina, a resort-style spot on Shelter Island, they charge about $600 just for the privilege of living aboard, on top of some of the highest slip fees in the state. Now, also utilities. You think you're surrounded by water, and that means unlimited access, right? Not quite. Most marinas provide dockside water, but electricity is often metered and billed separately. If you run heaters or dehumidifiers or live aboard full-time with a fridge and lights, and maybe even a little space heater for those chilly bay nights, that can add up. Some marinas include power, but don't count on that. Then you've got sewage pump outs, showers, laundry, trash service, parking, and even Wi-Fi. Every marina is a little bit different. Some of them will bundle these things in for you, while others will nickel and dime you for everything. Maintenance, too, is where a lot of people underestimate the cost of even living on a boat, regardless of where you are. Boats are needy. They demand constant attention, whether it's scrubbing the bottom, painting the hull, checking for corrosion, or servicing the engine. A good rule of thumb is about 10% of the boat's value per year. So if you bought a $50,000 boat, budget about $5,000 a year to keep it safe and seaworthy. And that should cover all the routine stuff and some of the major things. But when major things happen, you can be looking at some serious bills. Living in saltwater accelerates wear, so Bay Area or coastal SoCal boats usually need more frequent bottom paint and anode replacement compared to boats in freshwater like up the Sacramento Delta. And speaking of Delta, let's talk geography. Costs vary dramatically depending on where you want to keep this boat. Inland, like in Sacramento or the Delta, you can score a slip for a fraction of what they cost on the coast. At Sacramento Marina, a slip for a 40-foot boat might cost you $500 a month. Brennan Island in the Delta is even cheaper. A 50-foot boat there might only run you $350 a month. That's less than half the cost of a comparable slip in San Diego. Compare that to King Harbor in Redondo Beach. A 40-foot slip there will cost you about $1,200 a month, and that's before you add on the Liveaboard fees, the electricity, and your maintenance. Same size boat, totally different financial reality. So let's break it down into rough monthly budgets. If you've got a smaller 25 to 35-foot sailboat in an inland delta marina, living aboard could be as low as $1,000 to $1,800 a month, all in. That covers the slip, utilities, insurance, maintenance, liveaboard fees, and your food. If you've got a mid-size, let's say 35 to 45 footer, In a nicer Bay Area or Southern California marina, you're realistically looking at $2,000 to $3,500 a month. And if you're living the dream on a 50-footer in San Diego's Conakry Marina, $5,000 a month is not out of the question. And don't forget the big lumpy expenses. Every couple years you're going to need a haul out to inspect and repaint the bottom. That's easily $2,000 to $5,000 depending on what the boat needs and how big it is. Insurance is another one you have to think about. Liability insurance is required in most marinas, but full coverage depends on your vessel's value and where you're going to sail it. Then there's fuel and propane for cooking and all the little upgrades you'll want once you live aboard for a while. Solar panels, better batteries, a dinghy, maybe Starlink so you have better internet, and all of that's going to add up. And let's talk about wait lists for a second. You can't just rock up to a California marina with your boat and get a slip right now. Give them a call and usually you'll be added to a wait list, sometimes years long. Some marinas demand the first month's slip fees up front just to be added to that list. You get them back if you actually take possession of the slip. A lot of people have been sailing their boats up to the Pacific Northwest for a slip while they sit on the California wait list, but the PNW is getting full too. Ventura West Marina is one of the most popular for liveaboards and one of the few to actually advertise it on their website and will put you on a wait list without a deposit. Supply and demand has a big part of why these fees are so high. There's just so many boats and not enough slips. But there's something else to consider too. It's not always the marina that's gouging the boat owner. The Bay Conservation and Development Commission imposes rules and regulations on marinas too, like one such rule which only allows 10% of slips to be given to liveaboards. And like Florida, California regulations can change. Your marina's ownership can change, local bylaws can change, so even if you find the perfect liveaboard slip at a friendly marina that you can actually afford, it doesn't mean that that won't change. You could at any time end up among the thousands of boat owners looking for a new home for their boat and a new home for themselves. Now, with all that said, living on a boat in California can still make financial sense. Rent for a one-bedroom in San Francisco or San Diego can easily hit $3,000 a month. In comparison, a smaller boat in the Bay Area or Delta could be a lot cheaper, especially if you own the boat already. You're not just paying for housing here too, you're paying for a lifestyle on a boat. Sunsets on the deck, the freedom to untie the lines and go sailing, and a community of other liveaboards who share the same dream as you. Let's see if we can get some real-time information in the comments here. If you live on a boat in California or are trying to, please leave a comment. How much does it cost you? What advice do you have for would-be boat owners coming to California? And what would you do different if you were them? I can't wait to hear from you. Also, speaking of cost-effective liveaboards, did you see the article we did on the Catalina 375? This boat is a very hot seller for some very good reasons. An easy boat to live on, to sail, and to own, but they're getting harder to find. A great read if you're up for some learning today. I'll leave a link in the description. If you like sailboat videos, please give this one a thumbs up and hit subscribe so that I can see you again next time.